Transformers 1 once again proves that there is more than meets the eye.
So, how long do you think we'll be here? I'm not talking to you.
You know what? We are so screwed.
Thought you weren't talking to me.
Hi, I'm Jack, and welcome back, because today I'm going to give you guys my review for the latest movie in the Transformers franchise that has just been released in theaters, Transformers 1. It is directed by Josh Cooley, the director of Toy Story 4, and it stars Chris Hemsworth, Keegan-Michael Key, Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, Laurence Fishburne, Jon Hamm, and more. Let me know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on Transformers 1? I would love to know that, and with that said, let's get started. Transformers 1 is a prequel about Optimus Prime and Megatron, who were once friends that bonded like brothers, that went on a mission and learned something that changes the fate of Cybertron forever, and it follows their path from being really good friends to becoming each other's greatest enemies. I really like the Transformers franchise, and although the movies are pretty hit or miss, some being really good, others being really bad.
Man, I don't know what to think no more, man. Okay.
You can check out my ranking for this franchise, all the way from the original Transformers movie to Rise of the Beast up here, right there. And outside of that, I was really looking forward to Transformers 1. I like the director, Josh Cooley, who did Toy Story 4. And I also was really curious to see a prequel to this franchise on how Optimus Prime and Megatron were once friends and then later on became the leaders of the Autobots and Decepticon and went into war with one another. I was really excited to see how this would function as a prequel to the Transformers mythology. And although I didn't love the trailers for this movie, I was still very curious to see what this movie is going to do for the franchise and to see how it was going to turn out. So now that I have the chance to watch Transformers 1, I am super happy to report that it is an amazing prequel to this franchise. It is stylistically great. It is awesome, funny, full of heart, but also has a looming sense of tragedy, and it is all brought to life really well in Transformers 1. Right off the bat, I love the animation for Transformers 1. It is a very unique style with how they model and design the Transformers, and the landscape of Cybertron, I think, is done really well. Even the action sequences look really good. The characters all pop, have a distinct style, and also with the characters having their own unique personalities, which makes everyone stand out really well. It is a gorgeously animated movie to bring the world of Cybertron to life in this movie. I think it is done really well. I loved the voice cast in this movie. I was initially pretty hesitant on Chris Hemsworth as Orion Pax because Peter Cullen is so synonymous to this role of Optimus Prime, and even though we're following him as Orion Pax before he becomes Optimus Prime, but I was truly won over with Chris Hemsworth in this movie. He is on a roll with the stuff he's been in recently, and I'm excited to see what he does next because he truly disappeared into this role. Like, at times I forgot I was watching Chris Hemsworth voice Orion Pax.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
And Tyree Henry, I think, is fabulous as D16, who will later become Megatron. The brotherhood and relationship between both these characters is just so heartfelt, and I really liked both of these characters together and seeing how they work alongside one another and what they do with one another while knowing of the tragedy that's going to come upon both of them later on in this movie. It's going to have a lot of dire implications.
Our universe is doomed! Doomed!
And the other supporting cast members like Keegan-Michael Key, Scarlett Johansson, and Jon Hamm, I really liked in this movie as well, with Keegan-Michael Key as being the most comedic relief character. He definitely has a lot of the humor. It comes from him. And I think, for the most part, it is done really well.
There, I'm B127. I'm actually working on some nicknames. The one I'm floating right now is Badassatron, which is actually pronounced Badassatron.
We're gonna call you B.
I really like the characters in this movie. The individual stories for both Orion Pax and D16, starting out where we see them in the beginning of the movie versus where they both end up by the end, I think is a very good tragic tale to where there's still a lot of heart. It is a very funny movie at points, and it has a lot of the corniness and cheese that I do like from Transformers, and it does capture that so well. but it also has this looming sense of danger, because if you know the Transformers franchise and Optimus Prime and Megatron, you know exactly what's about to go down with these two characters. And even if I knew all this coming into this movie, I was still, as this movie goes on, hoping that something was going to happen to prevent it. But obviously, they become their worst enemies. And I think this movie handles the tragedy so well of taking these two characters who started out like brothers, like they treated one another so well and were always having each other's backs, to becoming each other's worst enemy. And I think they tell that story so well. And even the overall conspiracy of what gets all this in motion, I really enjoyed. It's a very fun story with a sense of stakes. It does things in a movie like this that I didn't expect it to pull off, to where it is a movie that younger audiences could really like, but it also has a lot of pretty mature, serious stuff involved, which I really appreciate too. It never loses sight of either of these things. And I appreciate that as far as Transformers movies go, this is the very first movie to not have human characters, because I think in these Transformers movies, human characters are very hit or miss. I do like the human characters in Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast. In the Bayformers movies, I don't really care for most of them most of the time. This movie still manages to have really captivating characters while being only just Transformers on the planet of Cybertron before the main world of Transformers even gets to what we know of it being as. The music is incredible. Like, there are bits in this movie from the score that I absolutely loved hearing. It is cinematic. It is action-packed. It really gets you in the mood, and it really has a sense of epicness and grand nature that I really appreciate, especially one for Orion Pax in the back half of the movie, which I won't spoil, but the moment it's used in and then the actual sound of the music in that point, it's breathtaking. I absolutely love it. And the action sequences are just incredible. The third act of this movie is the best hour of Transformers movie ever put into a Transformers movie.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I was left speechless. I was fist bumping. It was exciting. It was excellent. And it ended this movie on a really strong note. And it really goes into a lot of stuff I love about Transformers as to how these characters learn how to transform, how we see these two characters become who we know them to be later on in the franchise. And so as this little story that's being told here about Orion Pax and D16's relationship, and so as both these characters wanting to do more with their lives, especially Orion Pax mainly. And what this does affects both these characters so well that there is like a character arc that is followed through. And by the end, it is done really well and it's really satisfying. It is just an absolute blast of a movie. It's funny. It is heartfelt. It's corny. It is really fun to watch. But it also has a lot of things at stake. And I love the personal relationships with these characters. And it has pretty much everything I want to see in a Transformers movie. Minor issues I have with this movie is I do think the first half of the movie, while still very good, is my least favorite segment of the movie. It gets better as it goes along. And there's some jokes in this movie that are funny initially, then maybe they fizzle out as we get closer to the end. It doesn't feel like it lands as much. But I absolutely love Transformers 1. It is action-packed. It is great. It won me over, and I was really happy by how good this movie ended up being because I didn't love the trailers, and Transformers 1 absolutely won me over. So in the end, I'm going to give Transformers 1 an A. As of now, this is my favorite Transformers movie. I absolutely love Transformers 1. It is great. I hope you go see this movie if you can, whether you're a fan of Transformers or not. Definitely go see this movie. And I really would love to see more continuation for Transformers 1. They want to make this into a trilogy, and I really hope we get that trilogy, because after the way this movie ends, and so as with the reveals and what has been left hanging, and so as what it sets up, I want to see all that unfold, because the last couple minutes of Transformers 1 is amazing. It blew me away, and I am really hoping we get to see more sequels to Transformers 1 because I love it. It is by far my favorite movie in the Transformers franchise, and it is not just that good of a movie, but it is also one of my favorite movies of the year so far.
It's fantastic.
So yeah, that's my review for Transformers 1. What are your thoughts on the movie? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Stay tuned for some upcoming videos I have planned very soon. And don't forget to follow me on social media. My username is down below at the bottom of the screen and at the description below. So please go down while you're at it. And thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button. And stay tuned for more.
My finger can transform. Guess which one?
Allow me.